All right, well, hey there, guys. Welcome back to the Depression Session podcast. It is me, Weedman, your host. It's just going to be me today. And I think I'm just going to go ahead and get straight into it this week. So what I wanted to talk about was my, passion or my history or my hobby of video games. I know it's probably not the most interesting topic, but the other, 2, 3 weeks ago, I talked about my music passion. And I've also talked about my content creation passion too much. So I think this week I'm just going to go ahead and talk about my gaming passion. It's another thing that I have an interest in and something I've always done since I was literally like 4 or 5. So I just figured it might be interesting to talk about it with you guys, and it's also kind of the only thing I could come up for this week's episode. I don't know how long this episode is going to be. I'm going to try it for 30 minutes, but if I end up running short, I'm not going to fill the space with useless nonsense. So I think I'm just going to go ahead and straight into it. So my relationship with gaming has been pretty big. It's been a pretty big force in my life, pretty big hobby, something I've always kind of done. Like I said, it started when I was probably 4 or 5, maybe younger, maybe a little bit older. I don't really remember. But basically, I got into it because my dad was into it, and so was my older brother. So it was just kind of natural for my family, for us to play games. We also would play it a lot with my dad when we were younger. Me, my brother, and my dad would always play games like Call of Duty or Halo or Bioshock. Bioshock was a pretty big series. We played Assassin's Creed a little bit. And so it was like whenever my dad would play games, me and my brother would just go into the room and join him basically. And anytime anyone would die, we'd just pass the controller off to the next person and just take turns essentially. And then in terms of like my very, very first console, we had a I don't know if anyone remembers these anymore, but there is these like plug and play games that you would plug into your TV that had the VG not VGA the red, white, and yellow cables. The name escapes me right now. RCA, I'm pretty sure. But we had those, which were like little like joysticks you'd plug in and have like little mini games. Like we had a SpongeBob one, we had a Scooby Doo one, we had one that had like Galaga and Pac Man and a bunch of those really old retro games. So those were like the first ones that we like had to ourselves, I guess. But in terms of like actual consoles we had, our very first one was the PlayStation 2. And my god, did me and my brother play that so much. I think we went through like 4 or 5 of those. Like every time one would break, we get another one that year for Christmas, and then it would break, and then we get another one and another one. And so I think at the end of it we ended up with like 5 or 6 of those things because we just played those games so goddamn much. I would always play games like Ratchet and Clank, or I played a lot of like Pets Dogs 2. That was a big one. My brother was really big into the Sly Cooper games, the Thievius Raccoonus games. Those are really fun. I still play them every now and again. And then Ratchet and Clank, I still kind of dabble with. Another really big one for us was the Tony Hawk game series. My brother played those a lot, and he got really good at those. And I could never beat him at that, no matter what. I still can't to this day. That man's a god at those games. And then it was mainly the PS2 when I was younger, and then as I got older, I got really into Nintendo games. I got a DS, I got a 3DS, I got a Wii, I got a Wii U. Like I lived and breathed Nintendo from the ages of like really like junior high and to early high school. Just everything Nintendo. Nintendo was my favorite thing. I love the Legend of Zelda games. I love the Mario. Um, I didn't really get into Pokemon until I was a little bit older, but when I did, I really liked those games. I played a lot of Pokemon X and Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, particularly Alpha Sapphire. That was my game of choice. And then I've played a little bit of Moon, um, but that's really it. I never really played a lot of Moon. By the time I got it, I was kind of phasing out of Nintendo games. Um, I was moving on to games like Overwatch and Apex and Dead by Daylight, and oh my god, Dead by Daylight! I had such a huge problem with Dead by Daylight. That game was a menace. I still think to this day that is my biggest or the game that I have the most hours on. I think I have like 535 hours or some ridiculous shit like that, which I mean obviously isn't, the highest amount of playtime ever, because there are people that have like 2 3,000 hours into a game, or 10,000 hours or whatever, like some of these fucking pro players for like CS:GO or something. um but that was a really big game for me. I also really enjoyed Animal Crossing when I was younger. I played Animal Crossing like every single day for a year. um I played it every day for like an hour, and that used to be my most played game with like 450 or something. Animal Crossing New Leaf. That game provided a lot of solace for me, and it was just really fun. You know, just getting to make your own little town with animals and be a mayor and upgrade your house and grow flowers and all that stuff. So those were two really big games for me. It was like Zelda, Mario, Animal Crossing, Dead by Daylight. I had a really big Overwatch phase too. I started playing Overwatch in season 3 of Overwatch 1, which was I think like 2016, 2017, somewhere in there, the really early parts of the game, right? So like I remember a lot of the characters and heroes before fucking all the reworks, like Symmetra. I remember her old kit and Roadhog and all of that. Um, yeah, because I had just joined the game right when Sombra had been released, and she was the second character added to the game right after Ana. So I was there. I was there from the beginning. I was in the goddamn trenches. um, and I pretty consistently played that game all the way to the end of Overwatch 1 and into Overwatch 2. I would take like a couple months break here and there, but I'd always come back to it for a little bit. And then Overwatch 2 happened, and I no lifed. I didn't really no life the game, but I played it a lot and I got pretty good at Mercy. She was my main. I got pretty good at. I used to be good at Roadhog, and then they changed everything about him. But I was really good at Mercy, and then the dev team for Overwatch 2 announced that that they announced that the PVE wasn't coming. The whole reason that Overwatch 2 was released and made. So they essentially lied to all of us. And literally the day that they announced that, I stopped playing it, and I have not touched that game since because that's just not something you do. You know what I mean? You don't string along your entire fan base and kill your first game just for something that's not even going to be released or not something that's not even going to happen. So I just essentially gave up on the game and just haven't touched it since. I've been kind of wanting to go back into it. I'm not going to lie. Just because I miss the game. It is fun. It's a big part of my life. Um, I played it so goddamn much, and it's just a fun game. You know what I mean? But I still, I don't know. I don't really care too much to get back into it. And then honestly, recently I haven't really been playing too many games. I've just been busy with everything else, with the podcast and business and work and life and all that, you know. So I just really haven't been playing as much games recently. And it does kind of suck because gaming was a big part of my life. It was kind of like the only thing I did when I was a kid, and it was kind of who I was, you know what I mean? And so it does kind of suck to get older and like watch yourself like distancing yourself from your childhood hobbies and your childhood, you know what I mean? And just having to kind of let that go and move on to other things. Because I always thought I'd be gaming my entire life, you know what I mean? I thought I'd make it my career, and one way or the other, whether it be pro play or content. Which I mean, I guess I still technically am working on it, but really the only time I play games genuinely is to record and for content. Like the gaming videos we do for this, that's like the majority of the time that I actually do play games. Um, and so it does kind of, like I get it, I have to because I'm doing bigger and better things, I guess. You know, I'm not just sitting around all day playing games and doing nothing productive. But instead I'm choosing to work and make money and work on the podcast and do the things that I actually want to do in life. But every now and again, it feels like it's just kind of nice to sit down and just play a game. You know what I mean? And not really think about a whole lot and just enjoy the game. So I've been doing that a little bit recently with Valorant. I've been playing Valorant the past day or two, just kind of playing it, just relaxing, chilling. Um, Also playing a little more Apex and Dead by Daylight. I've just kind of slowly been getting back into it. I don't think I'll ever fully go back to the way I was of just 24/7 all day every day always playing it, because that's just not really something you can do when you're trying to build a life and try to progress and mature and all that. Unfortunately, it's not, unless that's the route you want to take, which I would love to, but I honestly just don't think I'm good enough at games to become a professional player. So my best bet would be content, which I have a personal YouTube channel that I upload to. At least I used to upload to Party Pig. That's kind of like my online gaming thing. I haven't touched that channel in basically since I started this podcast. I haven't touched it. I've been wanting to get back into it. I really have been. It's just I just have so much going on right now that I'm just not really allocating any time or resources to gaming. Just because, like I said, I feel like I just have better things to do with my time, and I'm kind of growing out of it, I guess. I mean, obviously, I get it. You don't got to be young to play video games or enjoy video games, but at the same time, it's like, would I rather play a game or would I rather start a business or work on the podcast or network or what have you? You know what I mean? It just feels like there's other things that would be more productive with my time, and that's what I've been really focusing on recently. Is just trying to be as productive as I can and grow as much as I can and do everything I can to become the man that I want to be and live the life that I want to live. Um, And so gaming has just kind of been a sacrifice that I've had to make recently. And I don't like it, you know. If it were up to me, I'd play games all day, every day, and do that. But I understand that, especially nowadays, that's just not really something you can do and be the highest level you can be. You know what I mean? At least for me personally. Like I'm not trying to talk bad on or talk down to anyone that still plays games or still plays a lot of games or wants to make gaming their career or what have you. Whatever makes people happy, I think they should be able to do. It's just for me personally, gaming just doesn't really fit in anymore with the stuff I want to do. I'm not going to fully abandon it or fully quit. I think I will still play games to some capacity for the rest of my life, but I think moving forward, I'm just going to have to do it less. And I mean, I have been doing less. I've barely played any games in the past 6 months, but as is life, as is life. And I'm not trying to come across as like complaining or, oh, I miss my video games or whatever, but it's just a fact of life that I've had to accept that sometimes you need to just distance yourself from certain things in order to do the goals you want to do and become who you want to be. And so I think if there's something in your life that you feel is genuinely holding you back from what you want to achieve, then it's just time to cut it off. You know what I mean? Or at least lower it, decrease the amount of time you are spending on that, and spend more time on the things that are important and the things that actually matter in life. It sucks growing up. It really, really does. Honestly, that's kind of all I have for this episode. I really tried to think about something. This was the best thing I can come up with, so I do apologize. We're going to be getting back on content more soon with the podcast. We're setting aside a day a week that we can just go over to Rolf and Hallmark's house and just record and do all that. So better content is coming soon. I promise. I know I say that every single week, and I apologize. I say that every single week. Shit's just rough right now. So I hope you guys enjoy this episode. Come back next Monday at 12 for another episode. Come back this Friday at 12 for a gaming video. It should be Broforce. Me and Pool Boy are playing Broforce on hard mode. Really fun series. Having a lot of fun with that. So come back Friday at 12 for that. And remember that just like this podcast, depression is a session and a too soon shall pass. So we'll see you guys next week, Monday at 12. Goodbye.